Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we got Wheel of Time content again, so let's go ahead and talk about Wheel of Time. So season 3 has just started and we got a 3 episode drop. But I'm watching each episode like one at a time. I've been really busy with work and stuff, so I just basically haven't been around. I've been non-existent. So I'm only watching it 1 episode at a time, so we're going to do a quick review of each episode as I watch them, and then when I watch all three, then we'll probably talk in a little bit more detail about how all three played together. But this first video is going to just be about the first episode, and it's going to contain full spoilers. I'm not going to restrict myself on talking about spoilers for the episode, so if you haven't watched the episode, I definitely recommend you go ahead and do that, and then come back and discuss it with me. So yeah, with that being said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. Alright, so episode 1. Alright, season 3 is starting off pretty well. I liked the episode, like, immensely. So one of the things that I notice about season 1 and season 2, like, a lot of it feels a little haphazard. They don't do a lot of very good setup and, like, establishing what we're going to do and what the goals and stuff are for the season, for the characters and stuff. We don't really, like, set any of that up in the first 2 seasons. It just kind of, like, stuff happens and then you kind of just pick it up. But I noticed right off the bat in this first episode of season 3, we're very much clearly trying to establish where our characters are, what they have been through, and where they're going, and who are our enemies. So I really like that because it makes it feel a lot more concise and like clear than the other seasons have. So we pick up pretty much like 3 months or so after the end of last season. Our entire crew is all together, like everybody is all together, and they're all in Tarvalon, and they're basically trying to figure out their next move and stuff. So I think this is a fascinating thing. So one of the changes that they've made to the TV show from the books is Calendar. So the next big thing that's really supposed to happen in the sequence of the books is they're supposed to go ahead and go get Calendar. Even though in the books at this point in time, Rand doesn't really do anything with it. He just kind of claims it and takes Tyr and then just kind of goes off and go do other stuff. So I kind of like and appreciate the fact that they're like, we're very much pushing that was his next thing to do. That is what's being recommended that he do. But one of the main points is that Tyr is basically a fortified city. So like in order to, even though technically he's the dragon, so he should be able to basically walk up, grab Calendar like it's Excalibur, just pull it out of the stone and, claim the city, which is, effectively what's probably still going to happen. But like that's more or less what he's supposed to do. But in contemporary knowledge, people know it as like a fortress city. It's like well forted and stuff, and like it's pretty much impregnable. So they're like, in order to try to go and stake a claim for the entire country or whatever, like you need to show up with an army. So I love the fact that they're interjecting logic into the reasons why they're going to delay that plot line instead of doing it in the order that it happens in the books. So I really like that idea a lot. And the idea that the army that he needs to go and get is at the Aiel Waste. So we're going to go do the that entire plot line first. I really like the logic that they inject into the first episode that explains why this happens. So I really enjoy that. It's one of the types of changes that I was hoping would happen because yeah, even as I remember the Calendar plot, it feels very, like tacked on. It feels like it can very much be skipped and revisited because he, of course, has to revisit and deal with Tyr and Calendar later. So it makes sense for them to just push all of that to like a consolidated 5th season or something like that. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And so we're going to go ahead into the Aiel Waste. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that stuff. Like we're doing, instead of like Matt getting his abilities from the adventures in the Aiel Waste, he seems to be getting at least some of them from having blown the horn of Valir. So he's getting the ability to speak in the Old Tongue. He's got the memories and stuff of all the battles and stuff going, way back into antiquity. So I imagine the luck will still come with the Elfin and the Ilfin or whatever, if I'm remembering that correctly. I think the luck part will still come with that. But I think he's getting the fighting skills and the, historical memories and stuff, which makes sense to tie it to, the horn because of the heroes of the past and stuff. I think that might be how it happened in the books. I might just be misremembering it. But I like how we get a little bit of a hint to who might not happen. What was her name? Brigitte? Brigitta? but the bowman, the bowwoman, the ancient warrior who's amazing with the bow and stuff, who they tell stories and stuff about. The I wonder if they're going to do that plot line, because I haven't heard anything about casting that character. So maybe they're not going to do that resurrected hero of ages, hero, like a literal hero reborn kind of character or something. Maybe they're not going to do that at all. I don't know. But during one of the hallucinations in the episodes, Matt is looking at playing cards, and one of the characters that has a bow is definitely Silverbow, Brigitte Silverbow, Bridget, something like that. But yeah, that was clearly at least a reference to it, if not foreshadowing her showing up later. So I really like the way in which the plots are laid out. The way we kind of establish where our characters are, we establish what they've done, we kind of talk a little bit about what they did last season, and we're very much making plans to see where they're going. So we're setting up the focus of the season. So I really, really enjoy that. So let's talk about the characters. So some of the characters are already immediately better than they have been. I like that with Egwene, we're definitely seeing a lot of aftershocks and PTSD effects and stuff like that from her time being enslaved and stuff. So it makes total sense. I'm happy they didn't just wash it away and make it seem like it's no big deal or whatever. She is very much a changed character, and they're very much going to lean into it, I think, a lot more than the books did, which I am totally here for. But one of the things I do not like is in this time frame, I think it's been like 3 months or something. Apparently, Rand and Egwene have gotten back together. So I don't like that because of book stuff. But I think I might be on board with it if they make the other changes that I think we're heading towards. So I'm very interested in that. So with the idea, the only of the Tarviran three that like we don't really get anything about what Perrin's been up to. We kind of get hints and stuff about his apprehension towards his level of violence he's indulging in lately and stuff. So that's more or less consistent with his character, but it's not really as character fundamental as the stuff we get with Rand and with Matt. Well, more so Matt than Rand even, because Rand is very much just like he's slowly starting to just accept his role, and he seems to be slowly kind of embracing the his authority and stuff, and injecting his opinions and his ideas and stuff into everything, instead of just being led along like he was for so long in the books. So having the characters be a bit older kind of forces you to get to that point a little quicker, which I kind of appreciate. But one of the things that I think they're definitely changing, one of the things that, if I'm understanding what I'm seeing correctly, they seem to definitely be planning on changing, is the nature of Rand's multiple wives. And I think I'm starting to enjoy the direction that I assume it's going in, if my predictions are correct. So it doesn't seem like Rand, like, because the three wives that Rand has in the books are all, they have all shown up, and they're not falling all over him the way they do in the books. Not even Min, which is interesting. Granted, Min isn't a part of like the group right now, but Min had like the biggest like crush and was sticking with him. Well, probably not the biggest crush, but like she had more physical time with him than the others did. So let's talk about Avienda first. So apparently, either Avienda is bi or is just lesbian. So her and Elaine, which is funny because if I remember correctly, yeah, her and Elaine in the books had incredible chemistry. Like I talked about it a number of times during reading the books and stuff. Like I would prefer just Avienda and Elaine be together and not deal with the whole being sister wives to Rand and stuff. Because I think Robert Jordan accidentally kind of created that dynamic when he made the part of the IEL culture that, they basically have to become very close to someone that they're going to share a husband with and stuff. So her and Elaine become very, very close, which, we end up seeing their parallel character development, how they help each other and how they develop separately and stuff. And it just kind of incidentally created a situation where it almost made more sense for them to be together instead of them also being with Rand. And it seems like the showrunners and writers kind of agree with that, because in this episode, they just made them, even though I thought she had way more like time, Avienda, I thought she had more time with Perrin. I thought they traveled together a lot more, but I could be off, I could be wrong. But her and Elaine apparently like completely hit it off, and like they're making out and they had sex and stuff. So like that's cool. So they're together. So it immediately puts in my head. Also, the Elaine mentions to Rand this episode that the throne of Andor, like the Lion Throne, will always be a friend to the Dragon Reborn and stuff. So that just immediately put in my head that neither Elaine nor Avienda are truly attracted to Rand at all. And it kind of puts in this position, in my opinion, that when they go to the Aiel Waste, Avienda and Elaine are going to end up being together and kind of make that official, or in some sort of way. And then, in order to further tie the dragon to the throne, the Lion Throne, in order to like kind of have this more or less take over that country without having to dispose Elaine or her mom and stuff. Maybe Rand will have a political marriage with Elaine, but because she's with Avienda, it has to be both of them. So that's how he gets both of them, and being married to both of them without being in a traditional relationship with either of them. I could kind of see that happening, and it works better as a way to kind of avoid the polygamy angle and all that kind of stuff, which I know some people have issues with. I also don't. I mean, the way it's handled in the books, I more or less don't have an issue with it because they all feel like placeholders. None of them feel like a proper relationship. And, so it feels more like a positioning thing than it does like him getting three wives or, that kind of thing. So it seems like the show might be avoiding that. And similar, in last season, Min had a lot more chemistry with Matt and spent a lot more time with Matt. And so I'm wondering if will she still, as soon as she meets Rand in person and stuff, will she be like she was in the books and be, his closest confidant and be near him all the time and stuff? Or will it be like another one where for whatever reason she just has to tie herself to the dragon, probably because of her visions or something like that, and they end up in this pseudo, harem marriage situation instead of it just being, as explicit, romance relationship situation as it was in the books. So I'm interested in that idea, making it a little more complicated, making it a little bit more, like not just so straightforward. This guy has all the riz in the world and gets three wives kind of thing, like make it something a little more in depth and a little more interesting. I kind of like that. So if they're going in that direction, I'm okay with it. I'm totally on board with it. Some of the other stuff that happens though that I'm like, oh my god. Like, so we get the Battle of the White Tower in the first episode. So that 11-minute clip that they dropped online, the reason why they did it, because it was just the opening, the cold open to the first episode. So we get that whole situation, and it was really cool. I love the use of all the magic and all the battle and stuff. And I love how Leandrin, like, just will not die. Like, they stabbed her with two katanas and stuff, but she got a couple yellow Aja, or they're technically all black Aja, but she's got a couple, with the skills of the healing weaves and stuff like that. And they come up and heal her, and, like, they're doing all this stuff. And I love that it's not exactly the civil war of the tower. That still probably will happen later. This is just the attack of the Black Aja and the exposure of the Black Ajas and all that stuff. So that's cool. I'm all right with that part. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought it was really cool, and I like the idea that they could keep putting Swan in so much danger. When she was almost stilled and stuff, or when they almost threw the building on top of her and stuff. I really like that. It's going to make when what happens to her happen to her, assuming they still do it, instead of just like killing her off or something. That's going to make that like feel a lot, more significant of a thing. But to be honest, in my opinion, they probably should just kill her off instead of doing that other plot line, because the culmination of that other plot line is kind of useless, especially since they've established her and Moraine. So like that other plot line that happens where she falls in love with the one guy or whatever, I don't and I can't think of an impact that truly had. So they probably won't even do that. They'll probably either just kill her off or just keep most of the stuff and have, her connection to Moraine be the thing that helps her get to where she got to in the book. So I'm interested in see what they do with that. And killing off one of Alana's warders, the thruple, like it killed the thruple and made it a regular couple now, basically. Like, that was very much telegraphed. Like, yes, she's powerful and she's badass and stuff. Clearly, epically powerful and badass, and her warders are really good. But I'm like, y'all went up against like 5 or 6 channelers. Like, you are lucky that all 3 of y'all aren't dead. Like, but Lana got some major, major skills with the one power, so she was kicking butt. But I'm like, I'm not that surprised that at least one of the warders died. And the way he died, it wasn't even because he wasn't skilled enough or nothing. It was purely to protect her. They both basically were running to protect her. And the one that wasn't close enough to her, he just basically took the sword to protect the other 2. So that kind of sucks. He's dead. He was the cool one. I liked him. Actually, I think the blonde guy gets more dialogue than he does anyway. But yeah, so so that was interesting. I really liked it. I think this first episode did a really good job establishing where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So I really like the fact that we have a trajectory, we have an idea of what we need to do. We're going to go to the IO Waste, and we're going to have that entire plot line, and and then we're going to, I guess, after that, deal with Kalendor, or maybe Kalendor is just going to get pushed until it truly comes back around, like it does in the book. But I'm not sure. But I am really optimistic about this season so far. I really like the changes that I'm seeing. I like the fact that the writing seems to be better in like those traditional writing ways of setup, and stuff, and then we'll get some payoff and stuff later. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens next. So time to go on to episode 2. So make sure you stick around and subscribe to the channel so you can check out my review and ramble discussion about episode 2 and episode 3, which will be coming like either the day after this video goes out or probably hours after. I haven't figured it out yet. It mostly depends on how I edit. So yeah, we'll all find out together. So yeah, with that being said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.